Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the world of digital security to look at a super fast, super powerful, and surprisingly versatile encryption method that's really shaking things up online. Its name is ChaCha20.
You know that little padlock you see up in your browser's address bar? We see it all the time, and it feels like a simple sign that things are okay, that you're safe. But what's really happening behind that tiny icon is, well, it's a constant, invisible war to keep our information out of the wrong hands. And in that war, victory doesn't always go to the biggest weapon. Sometimes it goes to the smartest, most agile fighter. And today, we're going to meet one of the most important new contenders on the scene. An algorithm with a catchy name, and more importantly, some seriously impressive credentials. All right, so let's get into it. What exactly is this new contender? Where did it come from? And what makes it so darn special? Okay, so ChaCha20 was developed back in 2008, and it's what's known as a stream cipher. Now, you might be familiar with things like AES, which is a block cipher. It encrypts your data in these fixed, predictable chunks. Stream ciphers are a whole different beast. A great way to think about ChaCha20 is like a super high-tech, continuous flow paper shredder. It creates this constant, unpredictable stream of random-looking bits. That's the key stream. And it mixes that stream with your actual data, bit by bit. The result? Total gibberish that's completely unreadable unless you have the one and only secret key. Now, to really get why ChaCha20 is such a big deal, you've got to put it head-to-head with the reigning, defending champion of encryption, the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES. This is where things get really interesting.
Look, AES is an absolute monster. It's raw power, especially on big servers that have special hardware built in just to make it run faster. It's the heavyweight champion. But ChaCha20's genius isn't about brute strength. It's about speed and efficiency, especially in pure software. It's designed to be lightning fast on all the gadgets that don't have that special hardware. You know, your phone, your watch, and pretty much all those little smart devices that make up the Internet of Things.
So it really is like having two different kinds of locks in your toolbox. AES, that's your heavy-duty industrial-grade padlock, the kind of thing you'd slap on a bank vault door. ChaCha20, on the other hand, is like a really clever, quick, and reliable combination lock. It's perfect for securing stuff when you're on the move. And the thing is, you don't pick one over the other forever. You need both. It's all about using the right tool for the right job.
But here's a crucial point. Just keeping something secret, that's only half the story. I mean, think about it. How do you know that your message wasn't grabbed, messed with, and then sent on its way? Even if the bad guys couldn't read it, they could still change it, and that can be just as dangerous.
And that's where ChaCha20's partner in crime comes in. The same cryptographer, Daniel J. Bernstein, also created something called Poly 1305. The best way to think of this is like a digital fingerprint or one of those tamper-proof seals you see on a medicine bottle. Its entire job is to guarantee that the message you received is the exact same one that was sent. No changes, no funny business.
So, you've got ChaCha20, and its job is confidentiality. It keeps the secret secret. And then you bring in Poly 11305, and its job is integrity. That's the tamper-proof seal, the guarantee that the message is authentic. And when you combine them, bam, you get what the pros call an AEAD. That stands for Authenticated Encryption with Associated Data. This dynamic duo is pretty much the gold standard for modern internet security, because it gives you both secrecy and authenticity, all wrapped up in one fast, efficient package. Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work under the hood? It's like a complex mathematical dance. But don't worry, you don't have to be a cryptographer to appreciate just how elegant and clever the logic is. Right at the core of ChaCha20 is something called the quarter-round function. That's the engine, the main mixing operation. Seriously, just think of it as a super secure kitchen blender, but for numbers. It takes in a bunch of data and just goes nuts with a series of really simple but really powerful operations, like adding, rotating, and something called XOR. And it just shuffles and blends everything so completely that the original ingredients are totally unrecognizable. So here's the play-by-play. First, you take your secret key and some other bits of data and arrange them neatly in a 4x4 grid. Then, you turn on that blender, the quarter-round function, and let it do its thing, mixing and shuffling all those numbers. But here's the key. It doesn't just do it once, it does it again and again for a total of 20 times. After all that mixing, the final, completely scrambled grid is used to create that unique key stream we talked about. And that's what gets combined with your message to encrypt it. And that number, 20, is so important. 20 rounds of blending. Why so many? Well, because that level of intense repeated shuffling creates a massive security buffer. It makes it practically impossible for any attacker to try and run the process backwards to figure out what the original key was. They just don't have a prayer.
Okay, I know this all sounds a little abstract, like it's happening in a server room somewhere far away, but you'd probably be shocked to learn how often ChaCha20 is working for you right now behind the scenes.
Because it's so fast, especially on mobile devices, ChaCha20 is perfect for securing the S in HTTPS. That's the padlock in your browser. It's almost certainly protecting the messages in your encrypted chat apps. It's probably securing your connection when you use a VPN. Big companies use it to encrypt data in the cloud, and because it's so efficient, it's become the default choice for securing that entire, ever-growing universe of small, low-power smart devices.
So, stepping back for a second, what does the success of a cipher like ChaCha20 really tell us about where digital security is headed?
I think the biggest takeaway is this: the future isn't a winner-take-all fight. It's not about one cipher replacing every other one. It's about building a bigger, more diverse toolbox. We're going to keep living in a world where we use the heavy-duty powerhouse AES for certain jobs and the fast, nimble challenger ChaCha20 for others.
But there is a giant storm cloud on the horizon, and it's called quantum computing. The theory is that these incredibly powerful machines could one day be strong enough to break a lot of our current encryption, and that includes both AES and ChaCha20. But here's the twist: it's both a threat and an opportunity. The very same weird physics that makes quantum computers so dangerous also gives us the tools to create entirely new forms of encryption that are resistant to them. It's the ultimate cat-and-mouse game, and it never, ever stops.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. At the end of the day, encryption is just a tool. And as that tool gets more and more powerful, we have to face a tough societal question. How do we balance the absolute need for security against the fundamental right to privacy? There's no easy answer, but it's a conversation that affects every single one of us, and it's going to define what our digital world looks like for years to come. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.